My mom just arrived in Colombia where she'll be backpacking with us for the next 3 weeks. This is her first time backpacking and the longest trip she's taken without my dad.
We are spending the morning in Bogota to introduce her to some amazing food before we head to the beautiful town of Villa de Leyva, which is in the mountains of Boyacá.
She says she wants to experience our normal life, which means we'll be staying at hostels, eating street food, camping, getting lost, and so much more. So we want to take a few minutes to talk about that transition from childhood to adulthood and how the relationship with our parents needs to change or gets to change.
But first,
The first time we got lost with my mom, she wanted the full experience with us, and this is pretty normal. We thought about going back down, but she insists on continuing on, so we're gonna try to figure out how to get up this mountain. We're Josiah and Lauda, and we exchanged traditional comforts for a life filled with adventure, peace, and freedom when we moved into our van Paz in June of 2021.
join us as we explore alternative ways of living outside the system.
What happened? First injury of the trip. How you feeling?
Fine. It was fine. It's just I looked down and there was blood.
That's really good that you had Band-Aids.
Yeah, I thought it was a good idea.
3 weeks ago, Josiah's mom arrived to Colombia, and to be honest, I was really concerned about how the experience would be. Fortunately, she seems to have a really good time with us, enjoy hiking. We got lost in the hike, but she always maintained a good mood, like optimistic, and that's something that I really appreciate.
Yeah, I'm really proud of the fact that we've been able to have such a wonderful 3 weeks traveling with my mom. I thought we would have a good time, but I wasn't exactly sure how everything would play out, because 3 weeks is a long time, right? There's a big age difference, generational gap between my mother and I, and it was just beautiful. What kind of animal do you think this is? We woke up this morning planning to start our trip with my mom with an easy hike, but our taxi driver convinced us to change our plans for a better hike, he says. This one has rivers, mountains, and ancestral cave paintings that are said to be thousands of years old. Wish us luck. Lauda just got stung by a bunch of bees. We wanted to do a little shower here in this waterfall, but there are a bunch of bees in here. Like as kids, our parents are in charge of us, you know, we have to obey all these different things. But as we become adults, the relationship gets to change.
Especially when we are teenagers and we are going through this stage where we are trying to find out our identity. And so that also brings us a lot of experiences. And sometimes parents don't agree with those experiences and they just try to judge their kids. And that doesn't work at all.
Yeah, and I think sometimes parents also have good intentions. They think they're doing what's best for their kids, but it starts this relationship where the kid feels like, you know, I'm going to obey when I have to. I'm going to do the very minimum, but you don't build that relationship. And I think there's a real opportunity as we become adults where we don't have to obey our parents, where we're not financially dependent on our parents, where we get to step into who we are and define the relationship with our parents as co-adults, as maybe friends. And I think it's a real beautiful opportunity that maybe some of us miss, in part because they don't teach us how to do that, right? That we don't learn that in school, and it's hard for parents and it's also hard for kids because it's a huge change from being a child where you have to obey to I'm an adult, I can do what I want, especially when you don't agree about something. We didn't find the trail and we need to make it down into this valley. So it's gonna be a little bit steep, but I think I found a way that we can get down. Hopefully we make it. We just made it down this mountain, and now we're heading to the valley. We'll see if we make it out. We're making our own way.
Josiah, Sí, por favor, let's go.
I can hear the river. Get to the river. Now we're gonna have to swim through. Let's go, Mom.
This is the experience. I love it.
We're back on the trail. Really good news. We found a trail at the top of the mountain. We're making our way down. We're about a little under a mile from the city. We were climbing for what, 6 hours today? How you guys feeling?
Great.
My mom's exhausted.
Even greater once I'm down.
With my parents, now they respect my decisions, especially my mom. She understands that now that I'm an adult, I have my own path and that my happiness is different from their happiness.
Yeah.
And so the only thing that she wants for me is to see me happy. And I had a good conversation with her because I didn't know that she thought that, and that really makes me happy, and that really makes me feel her unconditional love.
Yeah, I remember, like, for example, we eloped. So when we got married in Mexico, and when you came back to Colombia, you told your parents you had gotten married. And a lot of parents, I feel like that would be a very difficult conversation to have. And I know that, like your mom had said, like, I was fine with it. I understand that it's not the life decision that maybe she would have made, but she respects that it's what makes you happy and what you want, and she supports that. I think that's really beautiful to see where your relationship is now.
After spending a beautiful time in Villa de Leyva, we continue with our trip exploring the amazing region of Boyacá and its impressive nature.
Go.
Oh God. We are in Vatica. This is a beautiful animal rescue park. We are having a great time with Josiah's mom. Say hi.
Hi there. We're finishing up our first week traveling together. Beautiful weather. The rain is holding off. We went horseback riding. We're gonna explore this amazing place, see some animals, and head back to Tunja, where we're staying for the last couple nights.
And continue with our travel. I remember when I was very young and I went through this stage in my life when I was trying to find my identity. So I was listening to black metal and all that, and my lifestyle was kind of that, like going to concerts, like all different things that they couldn't understand. And I'm really thankful that my mom understood that it was a stage in my life that I needed to experience, because sometimes parents don't let their kids experience what they need to experience, because that's the way they know what is correct for them. And we need to experience different stages, and most of the time parents don't agree with those experiences.
Yeah, some of the times. I don't know about most of the times. I think it's different for everyone. And I think also, like, we get to be patient with our parents because they're from a different generation, right? They were taught differently, and it's complicated. It's difficult to mix two different generations, and there's so much love for each other, but there are so many differences in maybe beliefs and in how they would choose to live their life, or maybe how I would choose to live my life. I know in my situation, I was brought up in the church, and there was a time where I didn't want to go to church anymore, but it wasn't an option because living with my parents, I had to go to church. And so once I moved away, once I left, once I was no longer living with my parents, I was very clear on, I'm not a Christian. I don't want to go to church. And that was a point of contention. That was a difficult thing for example, for my mom to accept. And so when we talk on the phone, she would be asking, how's your relationship with God? Are you going to church? All of these different things. And it would really frustrate me because it was something that I was still kind of upset about feeling like, well, they forced me to go to church and I'm my own person and I don't have to do this. And that transition from being a kid to being an adult living on my own, yeah, it was complicated because what she wanted for me wasn't what I wanted for myself. But we worked through that stage, right? Like we were able to understand that etapa, that stage, wasn't going to define our relationship. And I think the two most important things have been my mom's ability to be patient with me and understand she's not going to be the one to convince me. She's not going to be the one to change my life. She can pray and she can do her things, but she has to accept that I'm going to live my life. And on my side, I've been willing to listen when she feels like something's important, when she wants to give me advice that maybe I don't agree with. I listen. And maybe I don't take her advice, but those two things, I would just, unsolicited advice for those people watching, I would invite you to just be patient with the other person and listen. Whether or not you take the advice, just listen to the other side.
Yeah, and understand that your happiness it doesn't mean that is everybody's happiness. Like happiness is subjective, and yeah, of course parents want their kids to be happy, but what they consider happiness for the kids maybe is something different. And understand that, don't judge your kids and don't judge your parents, and nobody teach them how to be parents.
With this wonderful visit, we say goodbye to Boyacá to head to the beautiful region of Santander, where we'll be exploring incredible waterfalls, rivers, breathtaking landscapes, and many stream sports.
The most important thing in a relationship is love, unconditional love. When we understand how or what unconditional love means, and it's like just let them be themselves and love them no matter what. I'm still in that process. It's not just this advice is not just for parents or for kids. It's for everybody that wants to have a good relationship with other people. It's don't judge and just spread love and understand that sometimes we are going through stages and it's part of life. And it's okay, and probably or maybe you don't agree with those paths, but it's fine. Just let them live and experience.
Yeah, I think most of the time both parents and children are doing what they think is best. And I think if we all assume positive intent from the other person, it'll make a big difference, because when you automatically think that the other person's trying to control you or the other person doesn't respect you, it's easy to reject the other person's perspective. But when you think, okay, I don't agree with this person, I don't agree with my dad, I don't agree with my mom, I don't agree with my kid, but let me just listen from the perspective of they think they're doing what's best, I think it really shifts the dynamic within the relationship. I wanted to give my mom a chance to talk from her perspective, how our relationship has changed and, what she thinks helped that change.
As an infant, it's obvious that we help sustain you as parents, and it's sometimes difficult to go from one stage to the other. Ideally, slowly you let your kids make small decisions and then bigger ones and then bigger ones, and when you get to high school, most kids think they know everything. But I think it really is important to continue to let them make bigger decisions, even if they're going to fail, which is hard for parents to do. But some kids have to learn things the hard way. I've got 5 kids, they're all very different.
Sometimes we are afraid of having friction in our lives. I don't think that friction or arguments are bad for our relationships. It's fine to have discussion with your parents. It doesn't mean that you hate them or you don't love them anymore. But it's good to be open-minded and to try to find the best solution to those arguments.
And as they're growing, like high school age, a lot of times they go through more difficult years, so parents would say anyways. They're learning and becoming their own person. And it's important, ideally, for parents to allow them to do that. And especially once they leave the home, to kind of hands off a little bit more and allow them to come to you when they're wanting advice or, conversations, those more difficult conversations. But I've definitely learned, like, if you push it, it doesn't work well, usually.
Honestly, I feel like we could probably write a book on this. It's such a complicated topic, and we're just, we're not experts. We're figuring this out ourselves.
I think it's not a complicated topic, but humans complicate everything.
It's complicated for me. I'm still trying to figure this out, and I think it's important. I think it's something that is worth talking about. It's such a unique relationship where you tell someone you're responsible for this baby, you're responsible for what happens, and then when they become an adult and something happens that you don't agree with, you still want to have control, but it's just surrendering. It's, cliche to say, but let the bird jump out of the nest and fly. Mm-hmm. And just appreciate the fact that they can fly because you taught them to fly, even if they don't fly the exact way you want them to.
Mm-hmm.
So just allowing your kid to be who they are, letting go, and allowing them to come to you when it's needed, when they want to, when they choose to. And when they're no longer in your home, it is a different relationship, because as it used to be, mom and son, like I would tell them, okay, this is the way it has to be done. Well, it isn't that way anymore, because they make their own decisions, and whether we like it or not as parents, we have to allow them to live their life. And it becomes more of it's great if you can actually become friends after those years when they're out of the house, and just enjoy your relationship with your son or daughter.
It's okay! Woo! Ah! Amazing march!
And I think the fact that we've been able to travel the last 3 weeks together, I know from my side, I've had a lot of fun being able to share this experience with my mom, coming from very different places, but the fact that we can share this time together and really enjoy traveling, I think is a testament that we really have created a friendship, and I'm proud of that.
Absolutely.
We are back in Vatica with Josiah's mom. She's visiting us. She wanted to see our home, our tiny home.
And we decided to do some hiking, so we're gonna go to Guane in El Camino Real, which is this beautiful hike that connects a lot of different small towns. We're just gonna go from one town to the next and see how we feel.
It's a beautiful route, so watch the images.
Are you nervous? How you feeling, Mom?
Feeling great.
And I think this video is also a good opportunity to say thank you to Josiah's mom. Thank you for visiting us. Thank you for spending a wonderful time together and be part of our small world, or our huge world. It's probably very different from what you are used to, but I'm very grateful. You always had the best attitude.
How far apart?
15 centimeters.
How much is that?
And also, we want to say thank you to Laura's parents. We're here in their finca, like their farm up in the mountains, and we've had such a beautiful time. We're so glad that we were able to introduce my mom to Laura's family and that they all got along. It helps that they don't speak the same language.
It was better than I expected, to be honest.
Honestly, everything flowed, and I'm just really proud that we have this relationship with our parents, and it's not always easy, and it's been a lot of work, and we'll go through different chapters in life where we recognize the differences, but we're doing the work, and we hope you do the work too. And I just want to put out this invitation, everyone who's watching, parents, kids, whoever, reach out to your parents, reach out to your kids, and try to just listen. It's not about telling them what to do, it's just about wanting what's best for them. And I think that all starts with listening and offering your love, unconditional love without any strings attached.
Don't forget to like and subscribe if you like our channel.